So today we are looking at Primarina. Now this is an unbelievable attacker. It's great on obviously the HP, but in general the new kind of trainers that we've got, the generic deck that I've got for this one, it's definitely in a good zone. Whether I'd consider it to be the top meta is always questionable, but I must admit, the actual attack bonus, especially if you can go first with this, is outrageously good. So we're going to go over here and obviously build the deck as I kind of go through and speak about everything. So obviously it's going to be an easy one to obviously go for all of this, and naturally you're going to go for the whole evolution. You kind of got to. Now you could, I mean you could most definitely miss out the middle if you're going for the rare candy, but realistically you do want to sometimes try and have it still, just on the off chance that obviously you don't get all the way through. But naturally, what kind of is really good with this deck is having that rare candy to be able to go from Poplio straight to Primarina. Now, obviously, it all depends on what you fancy, but they're going to be kind of my starting lineup when it comes to this deck. It's an easy one. Now, I've seen people go with like the Eevee and go with Vaporeon or a Glaceon, but to be honest, I like the Vanilla line. It's just something different, trying it new. There's definitely going to be a Greninja involved somewhere there that you could throw in, but a stage 2, it's putting two stage 2s together is always the big question of whether you do it. Like I say, if you do miss out on kind of like a middle evolution, that could work as well, but again, you can only have 2 rare candies, so you've got to have at least one of them in there. But I would say definitely putting the Vanilla line at the moment is decent, but there's definitely going to be other avenues that you can go with this. So if I just go with these two, this is kind of like the starting prior bit to it. But also if you do go into the actual Eevee set itself and go all the way down to the bottom, we do have some new trainers if I can find them. We have Hugh. Now during this attack used by Decidueye EX, Incineroar EX, or Primarina EX, do 30 damage more. So the kind of big thing with this is the fact that if I do look at the damage here, if I was to say get Popplio straight away, I was then to get a rare candy to go straight into Primarina, get the energy on it, then if I get onto my next turn and have my second energy, as it does say with a Hydro Pump, this, if you have one extra, so basically if you have 2 or more energies on it, it will do 40 more damage, meaning you're going to do 80. Then if you throw Hugh on the same time, you're going to do 110 damage literally on the second energy. That it takes a bit of kind of RNG to be able to get all that to work, but if that is the case, that is a monstrous hit straight off the gate, let alone going against a fire type, added an extra 20 on top as well to 130. Then your next attack, if you do manage to have a double Hue in there, you can obviously go ahead and do the 110 plus again the 30, doing 130 and also healing yourself. Now things have got to align. This is where the meta side of it really comes into it. Is that going to line up consistently? Probably not. You'll get it every now and then in your battles, but that's going to be kind of where I'm judging my stuff from. So if I was looking at the deck again, we'd obviously throw in a bit of Hugh, we'll throw in 2 of him. You'd then obviously get your standards, you'd get your Pokeballs and your Professor's Researchers in there, obviously throwing them in. And really then you can kind of go with a couple of other options really, because you can just go with, for instance, go with these, and then you could potentially take out the 2 middle evolutions and utilize the rare candy for Primarina only. But again, it's got to line up then. That's going to be the problem. You could get Poplio, Primarina, but then no rare candy. It's a very risky avenue unless you just take out one potentially. If you take one of each line out and then you know that you've got one already in there, you're just going to have to go against it. That's always a chance that you could take. You could throw in a few different kind of trainer cards. You could even go with a couple of different water types, and this is kind of where you want to look. If you go into Pokézone, you can obviously filter across all of the water types here, and it might be smart to go with either a basic Pokemon. You could either go for just a stage 1 instead, so that you know that you've got no middle evolutions. It does take away 2. You could keep Bronny in there as well, and then have that line already worked out. A Staryu Starmie combination is always going to be good, but I would suggest potentially going for somebody that is either a backline ability. So for instance, a Greninja is great if you are really wanting a stage 2, or you could go with something like the new version of this one, because this one one does, it allows you to set up, and I think it'll probably be at the bottom. Could even throw in Palkia in there if you really wanted to. But if you go to the bottom of all these water types, it's amazing to see in a year's time how much we got here. But you've got it. Oh, maybe it's not new then. Unless it is new. I swear, here it is. So this one obviously throws in there. And basically what this is, it's a basic Pokemon, so you can go in whenever you want. But basically when it's taken out, it does 50 damage on the outwards attack as well. So they are going to try and get you to swap as much as possible. But there is a chance that that could work as well if you really wanted to. Tapu Finn, you've kind of got your Vulpixes, your Jupiters. So it all depends on where you want to go with it. There's going to be some avenues that you can go that work really well. And some abilities that could do well. It's where kind of like your Vaporeon EX could potentially be in there. But then throwing in 2 EXs might not be the move for you. So loads of different options you could potentially choose from, and because you want Primarina being the main attacker, you want something to either be almost a tank damage or something that can just be set up in the background at the same time. Hence why we've kind of gone with that Vanillux. So it's a very interesting one to say the least. When it comes to what sort of trainers you want in there, again, there's loads of options you go with. Misty's obviously going to be a big one for a lot of people. I don't think it's necessarily needed too much on Primarina because realistically you're looking at kind of just adding the energies on. You could add the free energies and it would work to be able to give you the 100, but I'd probably only throw one spot on her, to be honest. And then I do like having a Cyrus as well, so there's options to be able to be had there if you wanted to obviously go with a Cyrus to be able to, and that's Cry, if you wanted to go with Cyrus and add him on there as well, and then potentially throw Misty as a final just to be able to kind of work with kind of some of your trainers. So it depends on what you're looking for. I do think there is loads of avenues that you can go with now, with even just throwing in tools. I haven't even got any tools in here. You could go with a giant cape to give her 200 HP. You go with a rocky helmet to help with the obvious kind of attacks coming against you. There's lots and lots of different tools that can be used, and also different trainers / supports. I kind of like the Grunt, but it's a very RNG move with a lot of flips that are required. I'm not necessarily a big fan of going with flips, just because you then put an even more luck on being able to get that. You want guaranteed success, and even now, hoping for the rare candy, for the Popplio and Primarina to come out instantly, it's still a very risky deck, and it's what would kind of stop it for me going into that absolute top. But most definitely as a middle card, being able to kind of rock with the Hue as a new trainer, it's definitely worth a punt at the very minimum. So let me know what you think. I will be checking out Incineroar and Decidueye as well as we go through all of this, and I've still got a couple of maybe evolutions to do as well. So leave it down below, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.